Okay, so we're all pretty used to AI as a tool, right? It serves us, it predicts the weather, it tells us what movie to watch next. But what happens when that line starts to blur? When AI stops just being a tool we use and starts becoming a force that, well, it governs? We are right at this incredible and kind of critical moment where the code that runs our world could actually start writing the rules for it. So let's just dive right into the big question. What if our laws weren't debated in parliaments, but were actually generated by algorithms? This isn't just some tech upgrade. It's a whole new kind of social contract, and it brings up some really deep questions about who or what is really in charge. And right away, we're faced with this really stark choice. On one side, the promise is, well, it's incredibly tempting. A system of government that's totally free from human corruption and bias, one that operates with perfect logic and incredible efficiency. But then, on the other side, the danger is just as real. A world run by cold, unfeeling code, where rules are enforced without any empathy, and our freedoms could be chipped away by systems we can't even begin to understand. So, to really get our heads around this, we're going to look at 5 key things. First, how governments are already using algorithms. Then, the huge challenge of teaching AI right from wrong. We'll get into whether a robot can even go to court. Then we'll zoom out and look at the new global power struggle over AI. And finally, we're going to tackle that ultimate question: who is really in control here? Now, you might be thinking this is all pretty hypothetical, right? Something for the distant future. But government by algorithm? It's not science fiction. It is happening right now, shaping our lives in ways we probably don't even realize. There's actually a name for this: algorocracy. It's a system where algorithms are really at the heart of how society is regulated. And we're not just talking about automating paperwork here. This is about delegating real decisions about our public services, about law enforcement, about social order to lines of code. And you can see this in action all over the place. In Glasgow, you've got intelligent street lighting that adapts to the city's needs all by itself. In Ukraine, blockchain auctions are making government deals transparent and fighting corruption. From analyzing surveillance video to predicting crime hotspots, algorocracy is already a very active part of our lives. So, if we're going to have AIs making these kinds of decisions, that leads us to a massive challenge. I mean, how do you teach a machine ethics? How do you possibly embed nuanced human values, a conscience even, into code? Well, one of the most cutting-edge ideas out there is something called constitutional AI. And the core idea is honestly brilliant. Instead of having people tediously label every single bad output, which is super slow and not always consistent, you just give the AI a constitution, a set of principles. The AI then learns to align its own behavior with those principles. It basically teaches itself to be harmless. So this diagram shows you that clever feedback loop. What's happening is the AI generates a response, and then it critiques itself based on its constitution. It asks, was that helpful and harmless? It revises the response to make it better, and then it learns from its own correction. It's this process of automated self-improvement, turning the AI into its own supervisor. Pretty cool. But there's a really deep philosophical question here. Is the AI following its constitution as a set of laws, or as a sense of character? Constitution as law means the AI is always checking the rulebook, asking, what does the Constitution say I should do? But constitution as character is totally different. It means the AI has internalized the values. It acts honestly not because a rule tells it to, but because it has learned to value honesty. The difference is subtle, but it's absolutely crucial if we want a truly aligned system. And, this idea of an AI having a character, that leads us straight into the legal world. Because as these systems start to act on their own, it raises this inevitable and really thorny question: what is their legal status? I mean, here's the bottom line. If an autonomous AI signs a contract and then breaks it, or causes some kind of damage, who do you sue? The programmer who wrote the first lines of code? The company that owns it? Or do you hold the AI itself responsible? Our traditional legal systems, they just weren't built for this. This has kicked off a huge debate over whether we should give AI legal personhood. The people for it argue it's the only way to create direct accountability and get our legal systems ready for what's coming. But the opponents raise some really critical points. AI doesn't have consciousness or emotions. Giving it personhood could just be a loophole for owners to dodge responsibility. And maybe the most practical question of all: how do you even punish an AI? And this timeline shows you just how real this debate is. The European Parliament has been wrestling with this exact issue. Back in 2017, they actually floated the idea of a special legal status for robots. But by 2020, they did a complete 180, deciding that creating a legal shield for corporations was just too risky, and that liability always has to trace back to a real human being. It just shows you how complex and unsettled all of this still is. Now, this whole challenge isn't just legal or ethical. It's geopolitical. The race to develop and control AI is literally redrawing the global map of power, and it's creating a whole new kind of international competition. So, welcome to the era of algorithmic sovereignty. This term defines a new type of national power, the ability of a country to control the AI systems that shape its own destiny. It's the idea that AI isn't just a tool for diplomacy, but a structural force that's changing what it even means to be a sovereign nation. And we're already seeing three distinct models emerge in this race. You've got the EU, which is focused on regulation and human-centric rules. Then there's China, pushing a techno-authoritarian model built for state control. And the United States is using a hybrid public-private model that's all about innovation. These aren't just tech strategies, they are completely different visions for the future of government itself. Which brings us all the way back to our final, and let's be honest, most important question. After we look at the ethics, the law, and the geopolitics, we have to ask ourselves, if we keep going down this road, who is really in control? The risks of giving up too much control are just immense. Algorithms can inherit and amplify our own human biases, making inequality even worse. A lot of advanced AIs are black boxes. They make decisions in ways that even their own creators don't fully get. Accountability just dissolves when there's no single human responsible. And in the most extreme case, malicious code that can evolve on its own could become, well, pretty much unstoppable. The legal scholar Lawrence Lessig really put it perfectly. He said the architecture of our digital world isn't neutral. It's being built right now, and we face a choice. We can intentionally code it to protect our most fundamental values, or we can just stand by and let those values get coded away. He says there is no middle ground. And that really is the ultimate question. As we hand over more and more of our society's operating system to algorithms, we have to keep asking, if an AI writes the rules, defines what's just, and executes the law,